good, y'all.
Now, I know a lot has gone in to where you are today in your journey of crafting a life that you love, but why don't you speak a little bit about natural building and wanting to chronicle this particular part of your journey?
All right. Story started when I went to Mother Earth News Fair about 2.5 years ago and heard Kat Taylor from Cobb Hill Natural Building. And she's this lady standing there talking about how she built this own Cobb house and how she did it, that anybody could do it, and that it doesn't have to cost $1 million to have a handcrafted home, and there's more natural, healthy, beautiful ways to build a house, and that you don't need expertise, you don't need a contractor. And it was wild. It blew my mind. As hearing her standing there, I went up to her afterwards and I was like, look, like, you see me, I have a bunch of little kids, I'm home educating, could I actually do this? And she was like, yeah, you can. So I went and like drug Rachel to her talk and was like, you gotta listen to this lady. It makes me think that we could build our own house. I know that's crazy, but is it crazy? Could we do it? And so then I came home and was like, guys, I think we should build a house. And you were like, okay, that's crazy. And I thought I would take the 10-day class and find out. It did not work out that year for me to go. And I'd already paid for my spot and I couldn't get it back because it was like last minute when I had signed up. Shane Moss said he wanted to go and do the 6-day in the fall. So we sent him, and Derek was like, look, Shane's the most cautious of us. If Shane goes and Shane thinks this is actually something we could do, then that's who we could take. We're all easily excited. We need to know what he thinks. And so Shane came back from that 6-day class and he was like, I think we can. And it's been a process of finding the right piece of property and getting all our things in order to be ready to do this. There was lots of things in play.
Let me go back to when Shane came back from that 6-day
Yeah.
course. I remember him coming home and he was telling us about what happened during that 6 days. And we were on that walk. Remember we were on the walk going from the house out deep part of the property, and it was kind of a slow walk. It was in the evening, about 6 o'clock, and Shane was just walking us through all the little details. And I just remember him telling us, hey, you know, this is not as difficult as it may look, because he was telling us about, they built this little structure up at the top of Cobb Hill. It was a welcome structure. And he was explaining how he was using different types of materials that he was using. I could tell that there was a lot of enthusiasm behind his words. You know, with Shane, you know, if he can get behind something like that, and he feels like that this is something that's doable, then, you know, all of us can actually get out here and do it ourselves. I just remember when he finished up, you know, I was feeling really excited about the process, because I was like, wow, okay, if he's really behind this, then we can do this. Obviously, for me, I'm a person who, you know, I get really excited about a lot of things real quick, and I can get, you know, into the thrill of the moment. But I could tell that he was totally behind it. So let's see if this is something we really want to pursue.
So then last year we decided to make the investment and come out, this is 5 hours from where we currently lived, and do the 10-day class as a couple with our oldest. And that meant bringing the babysitter with us and camping off-site so that we could be with our littles during that time and see, like, let's do this for 10 days and find out. We also, so going back a little bit before that, we had done a lot of recovery work in the last 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years.
In the last 7 years, going back before this a little bit, before that led us to be ready for anything like this. So we had been doing working on ourselves, growing, and we found a program called Teaching Self-Government, and that really revolutionized our family and found so much freedom in learning how to choose calm and learning how to relate better as a family, as a couple. Really just changed our lives. And we felt like we could start following our dreams and doing the things that we always wanted to do but kind of thought we couldn't. And that included having another baby. And so we actually did that 10-day class in Northeast Texas in June, outside all day, while I was in my first trimester. And I was like, it was a little bit rough, but I was able to do it. If I can do this first trimester pregnant, I can do this with the baby on my back. We just got onto our property it's been about 6 weeks now, and we're getting set up so that we can function and live and, have everything that we need while we're building. And we are about to get started, and we thought, nobody else is really doing this. We were looking for content, like who's done this, and is anybody doing this, as a family, is anybody doing this? How are they doing it? And we just didn't see it out there, and we were like, we want to share, we want to show other people that if we can do this, other people can do it too. And we wanted this documented for ourselves and our children, our family as well.
Exactly. We've seen a lot of content out there on YouTube where like someone was doing a barn dominium rebuild,
right,
or a container house.
Yeah.
Or they were showing us, they would show us the cob house, but they would just
There's
show
lots
us
of tours.
the tours, but they show us the finished product, or
Right.
they show us the very beginning of it, like, oh, this is what it looks like when you first start out. But they didn't show us the process of this thing playing out over the course of days, weeks, and months.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for us, what we want to do is that we want to chronicle each step of the journey along the way,
right,
starting from the very, very beginning and taking us all the way to the end of the project.
Yeah, because we're going to learn so much. And anytime you take on something that's like so big and has so many pieces and moving parts, you're not going to remember. You're doing the next thing. And so I'm really excited to document and be able to look back and see all that we learn and all the challenges we overcome and all the skills we learn and gain along the way.
There's going to be obstacles that we're going to face along the way that we're not going to have an answer for. And I think it's going to be one of those little things that a viewer is going to look at and go, oh, okay, this is something that, that will be of an interest to me that I can actually use, because I'm a details kind of a person. Whenever I'm having to go fix things, I need to see visually, the detailed part of how this actually is put together or how it works. And so I think that if we're chronicling what we're doing along the way, even if it's the smallest thing, like putting a pipe in the wall or putting a stake in the ground, I want to be able to chronicle that so that way someone can see it and go, oh, okay, that's what they did. Okay.
Right.
And even if they say, oh, we can do it better, no problem.
Awesome.
At least you have a reference
Yeah.
in which to go back to.
Leave us a comment. Tell us what we should do. We're new. Well, and also figuring this out, I think you see like singles or couples. It's so rare, I think, to see families working together. And that was our vision. A big piece of our vision was we home educate. And so we already felt like we had the freedom and the autonomy to educate and teach them. And we do a lot of skill-based learning and real life learning. And we love doing that. We love doing that, especially with our oldest son. He's super into, everything homestead. For his 12th birthday, he and I did a 3-day hog butchering class, and it was so incredible. We learned so much. This was kind of the ultimate to that concept and that vision that we've had for our family for a long time, is to show our children and give them ownership over their lives so that they feel like they can provide for themselves. They can feed themselves, they can shelter, and that's what Kat Taylor talked about when I heard her speak, was that shelter is a basic human need, and we should be able to provide that for ourselves. And something about our current culture and modern day life, we have been convinced that we cannot provide that for ourselves, and we have to spend a whole lot of money to have something that's beautiful and functional.
Right.
And I feel like this is the ultimate freedom, to show our children that they don't have to follow. They can, right?
Exactly.
They can go buy a stick-built house, and that's awesome. Like, if that's what they want to do, that's fantastic. But to have the knowledge that they actually can work with their hands and create something,
I think it's empowering.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I think it's empowering when you can develop a skill that you didn't have before and go, oh, wow, look at that. I just cut down a tree. Or, hey, I just butchered a hog. Or, hey, I just grew a garden.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing, but now I know what I'm doing, and I've got the skills to do this.
Yeah.
Like that, you're going from having no ability to do this, that, and the other to like, wow, I can create, I can build, I can make things happen.
Right.
And I don't have to pay people to do this.
Right.
I can just do this myself. And I've already experienced for myself, there's an extreme amount of satisfaction. A couple of years ago, I started a garden. Never did it before in my life. Went ahead and tried it. And we were in the middle of a drought.
It's a rough gardening year
Goodness.
for expert gardeners.
And, You know what? The funny thing was that I actually grew tomatoes in the worst summer that most people were not growing anything.
Yeah.
If I can do that, and with what little skill that I had to start with, oh my goodness, now that I know what I'm doing, the world is my oyster.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the overarching theme is freedom, right? So we knew like we had freedom in education, and we knew that we were giving our children the freedom to learn. You know, when you teach a child to read, right? They have so much freedom. It's like I feel like you can, almost travel the world through your bookshelf, and I love to do that.
Yep.
And then through teaching self-government and doing the various like recovery work and therapies that we were gaining emotional freedom and spiritual freedom, and this is kind of the next step towards financial freedom and freedom to know that you can do what you want, right?
Right. I feel like that what we're hoping to accomplish here with our chronicling our journey is that along the way, our kids, ourselves included, we're going to pick up, gain, and learn new skills. We're going to figure out how to do certain things. And I think more importantly, we're going to learn how to become more than what we are.
Right.
And when we can do that, then there's an extreme amount of freedom that comes from it, because then now you have the skills to go do whatever you want, and you feel like that nothing's out of your reach. And I'm hoping that you, the viewer, will pick up something along the way and go, wow, if they can do it and they didn't have any experience in building a house or doing a garden or whatever, well, I can go out there and do it myself.
Right.
That's what I'm hoping to accomplish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because life really is good, y'all.
that's right.